Early warning signs of a toxic relationship that I missed so that you don't have to. Unfortunately, I spent the majority of my adult life in toxic relationships. Let's move past it and let me give you the signs that I missed. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Number one is the man who is immediately in love with you. And I mean literally the words will flow out of his mouth, I love you, within the first 5 minutes. Red flag. I know you may want to believe this, desperately want to believe that this person has met you, your soulmates, your twin flames, whatever you're telling yourself, whatever the internet has convinced you that this person is, I guarantee you, red flag. The red is the flag, bitch, maroon. Number two is the man who uses your boundaries to manipulate you. No explanation needed on that one, okay, y'all? He will use your boundaries and manipulate you with them. Three is the man that immediately wants to move in with you or you move in with him. Oh my God, when I tell you this is the reddest of flags, do not do this. He's looking for a roommate. He's looking for someone to pay the bills. He's looking for someone to take care of the kids. He is looking for a housemaid. 99% of the time, that's going to be schmiss-moosive relationship. Okay, don't do this. Do this. Run, run, run. Number four is the man who's looking for a woman to hold him down. His ride or die. His whatever the hell he wants to call it, all right? His sugar mama. Girl, you need to shimmy your way on out of there right quick and in a motherfucking hurry. That man is gonna use you, abuse you, and throw you out. Red flag. Number five is the man who never trusts you. Oh my God, PTSD on this one, y'all. If a man immediately doesn't trust you without you ever giving him a reason to, he is doing something. Every single time he is mirroring what he is doing onto you. I guarantee you that is the worst man you've ever fucking met, okay? Bonus number six, the religious man. Religious men hide behind religion as a way to affront their bad behaviors, okay? Behind closed doors, these men are the literal devil. They are the devil. Trust me when I tell you, any man who's like, I put God first, God number one. If God is in his bio, oh my God, if he has the cross, if he has some kind of fucking psalm, girl, oh my, bitch, run. Run as fast as you motherfucking can. Let's do a part two because this is getting long. Bye.
Boys, this is a sign of a toxic girlfriend. And this is coming from a girl, so like, do what you will with that information. Hi, my name is Chloe, and I am in fact your new best friend. Effective immediately. And I'm just trying to get you out of a bad situation, man. So you better take notes. Okay, number one, if they try to control who you follow on social media, like, at all. That might seem like such a small thing, but it's so toxic. Number two, they don't like you having other female friends. Now, there is a caveat to this. You hang out with a girl more than your girlfriend and then claim that that's your girl best friend. It comes off a little sketchy, but like, just be open about it. Find that talking to your girlfriend about it just honestly really helps. Number three, if she tries to change up like what you wear, that's another big red flag that she's toxic. In this case, she's trying to mold you into who she wants you to be instead of letting you just be yourself. So, yeah, get out of there.
We always tend to normalize toxicity in relationships. This is so wrong. Toxicity in a relationship is too dangerous. It can lead your life at a risk. Without talking too much at the start, what do you think? What do you know about toxicity in relationships? Have you ever experienced toxicity? What did you do in order to overcome it? Be part of this conversation by dropping a comment. Be part of this conversation by dropping a comment in the comment section. Without wasting a lot of time, let us get into the video.
The first time he throws food at you, you fucking leave. The first time he knocks a plate out of your hand, you fucking leave. The first time he throws a drink, smashes dinner, or makes you clean up the mess he created, you fucking leave. The first time he screams in your face, you leave. The first time he blocks the doorway, takes your keys, or stands over you so you can't get away, you better fucking leave. The first time he humiliates you in front of the kids, then laughs and said he was joking, you leave. The first time he breaks your things, punches a wall, kicks a door, or drives like a fucking maniac because he is angry, you leave. The first time you notice yourself checking his face before you speak, you leave. The first time you start hiding what happens inside your house, you leave. The first time your body goes stiff when you hear his footsteps, you leave. Stop waiting for him to hit you before you call it dangerous. Throwing food at you is violence. Destroying things around you is intimidation. Making you afraid inside your own home is abuse. Every time you stay after he crosses another line, he learns that the line can move. What was the first thing he did that made you feel afraid of him? Drop it in the comments below, because you can save another woman. Go to my bio for my free guide and coaching, because you need a plan, not another breakdown. Love you, baddie.
One of the biggest warning signs that you're going to be in an abusive, toxic relationship very early on that you can look out for, that you should hear me about, is when someone frames control as concern for you and or as a boundary for themselves. So I'll explain what I mean by this, but I want you to actually listen and take me seriously. If this applies to you at all, take me very seriously, because the worst outcome if you leave this person is that you're sad and they didn't end up actually being that type of person, and you left someone that was maybe good and you find someone else and you move the fuck on with your life. The worst outcome if you stay with this person is they could end your life. So like, you actually need to take things like this serious. For me, for example, when I got out of a 10-year relationship that ended up being toxic and abusive, I look back and I see certain things where I'm like, if I had recognized this as a warning sign earlier on and seen where it would lead, I could have avoided so much. One of the first things that I noticed that didn't sit right in my gut, but I ignored it, was the control over my outfits. I wasn't allowed to have any of my cleavage showing. I mean, like, literally, this shirt, absolutely not. But like this, and I wasn't allowed to show any cleavage. It's not about allowed either. They set this boundary as this form of, it's my boundary that you cannot wear this because it's not respectful to me. If that's a boundary they actually have, they wouldn't be dating you. And also, that's not how boundaries work. If that's a boundary you have, then you leave me. You don't get to control my decision making with your boundary. Does that make sense? I don't know how to word that better than that. But anyway, another example is when someone acts like, I don't want you to go out with your friends because I just am scared that you're gonna, like, I'm worried about your safety. Like, I don't want you to be unsafe, and like, so I'm blowing up your phone because I'm making sure you're safe. That isn't about concern. That's control. Will also really try to convince you your friends are out to get you, or that you don't have any real friends. Like, your friends don't know anything, your friends are bad friends. They might even try to tell stories to your friends that are negative about you to try to get your friends to not like you anymore. Like, it can get really convoluted and weird, and the isolation is like a really early thing that starts. It's very early on. The isolation is something to look out for, and if it doesn't sit right in your stomach, you can feel it when it's like, that felt weird, but maybe it's nothing. It may be nothing, but it also may be a warning sign that this person's going to take your life in the future. So just maybe follow your gut. And when people are establishing boundaries that feel like control, or they are using language that takes away your autonomy or your decision making, take that very seriously. Anyway, it's one of the earliest signs to close this off that I have noticed that is frequently reoccurring is the control over clothing, and that being framed as respect. So, all right, love you guys, bye.
As someone who didn't realize that I was in an abusive relationship until it was too late, here are 5 warning signs that I wish I hadn't ignored. And I know people who've never experienced this would say, how did you not know it was abuse? How could you possibly stay in this relationship? And to that I say, first, God bless you for not knowing. I don't wish this kind of pain and confusion on my worst enemy. And I didn't know at first because abuse doesn't announce itself on day one. It starts really small. It chips away at you until you don't even see how far you've been pulled under. So that being said, here are 5 things that are glaring red flags for me looking back. Number 1 is the road rage. The car became his personal torture chamber. Tailgating, cutting people off, driving like a maniac. And you can do whatever you want when you're in the car alone. But when you have precious cargo, somebody that you love, that is controlling them through fear. Number 2 is isolation. He tried so hard to slowly cut me off from my friends and family until he was my only source of connection. And he successfully did that with a few people. Number 3, the love bombing. It was so intense. It was so over the top. Said that he loved me within a week of meeting me.
He'd never had a girlfriend before. He made me feel so special. I was his soulmate. I was gonna have kids with him. We were gonna have this beautiful life together. But that slowly turned into criticism and control. It was a 180. Number 4, I felt like I was always walking on eggshells. I had to adjust everything that I said or did to avoid setting them off. I felt like I was always having to keep the peace. Number 5 was the blame shifting. Every argument somehow became my fault, no matter what actually happened, and it didn't matter what my version of events was because his was the reality, and I had to bend to that. So if any of these or all 5 of these feel familiar to you, please don't brush them off because they're not just quirks, they're warning signs.
3 signs they are emotionally abusive, they know exactly what they're doing, and they are not going to change. Now, so many clients will come to me and in the consultation will say, Paige, I am here because I know this cycle is ridiculous. It is painful, it is hurtful, it is toxic, it is making me into someone I don't recognise. I know I've got to leave and I know I need to stay left. I've maybe tried before, very, very difficult because when I do leave, it feels worse than being with them. But either way, I know I need to do this, but I am petrified because I am petrified they are going to change and be great for someone else. That someone else is going to get that beginning version that made me feel things I have never felt before. That then I really am going to feel like I were the problem. And am I the problem? What if I don't love anyone the way I love them? The way I feel about them is not how I've ever felt about anyone else. What if I end up alone and they end up great for someone else, and then what? I've lost the one thing that although made me feel horrific on this hand, made me feel things I've also never felt on this hand. And I get it. I totally get it. But there are some key psychological signs that I take all my clients through so that gently they can start to accept that they are only going to get relief from healing, not from this person changing, which usually can't happen without a brain transplant, and not from this person being temporarily better. Number 1. Every single apology is followed by the same behaviour. They cry, they promise, they apologise, they will appear to do anything to keep you. Anything at all. But within days or weeks, the behaviours are back. They are lying again. They are screaming and shouting at you again. They are calling you names. They are doing the push and pull dynamic. They are doing all the things that they do regularly. But that apology feels wonderful. When you get those tears, when you get that, I'm sorry, I can't believe what I've done. I know I need to change this time. Sometimes they'll even offer to go to therapy. They might even go to a handful of sessions. I've seen that many a time too. But fundamentally, within days or weeks, once that dust settles, in snakes that same behaviour that if you're really honest with yourself, you've seen a million times. You can recognise it before it's even happened. You can feel it coming before it's even happened. I always say to my clients, we can't judge change on how convincing an apology is. We have to look at what this person does once life goes back to normal. Once you're in the to and throes of life and normal routine and the dust has settled and you've decided to forgive them and try and make it work, that's when you're going to see if somebody is even capable of change, wants to change, or is even going to try to. Number 2, they only change when they're about to lose you. They're then suddenly affectionate. They suddenly can listen. They suddenly can see what they've done. They feel very apologetic. Suddenly promising this wonderful future that's all you've ever wanted with them. It's that potential that you built at the very beginning. But the relationship only will feel safe when you're walking away from it. You're not experiencing change from this person. You're experiencing crisis management, control, emotionally abusive behaviours in the form of love bombing, rather than somebody who is actionably taking steps to fundamentally change and be able to keep that change up. They promise things in these moments when crisis happens, when you have finally had enough, that they know full well they are not capable of achieving. But it's enough to keep that hope alive, and it's enough to keep you. Number 3. You keep lowering the standard of what change means. At least they didn't shout this time. At least they've replied to me. At least they've apologised. At least they've admitted part of it. You are scraping around the barrel for bare minimum at this point, because ultimately, if you scrape about that barrel and don't find anything, then you know you're going to have to leave, and that feels scary. You want to see the change in them, of course you do. You don't want to have to heal from them. You don't want to have to get over them. You don't want to have to chemically detach and do the whole grief process. So if you can find little clues that they are going to change, then you are going to stick it out, because that hope is wrapped so tightly around you and is your life raft right now. But instead of saying now, they've hurt me, you're now saying they've hurt me a little less, but they've still hurt you. The truth.
Ladies, top 5 signs that a guy is probably toxic. So pay attention. Number 1, controlling. Listen, every controlling toxic guy, it starts off subtle. Starts off with a little this, little that, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? Number 2, inconsistency. If he's very inconsistent, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The dude's toxic, man. Number 3, mind games. Listen, that is, if you ever date a guy and you start feeling confused or shit's not making any sense to you, he's playing mind games on you and he's toxic. Number 4, lack of communication. If a guy is barely communicating with you, barely talking to you, clearly he's playing fucking games with you and clearly he's toxic, right? Like, these are things you have to be, like, aware of, all right? And then number 5, negative words. If a guy, every time you talk to him about something or anything and he's always negative, man, he's a toxic person. Get rid of that guy.
Most of us tend to normalize these signs, yet they are signs of toxicity in relationships. The very first one is being with someone who is too jealousy. They are always checking your phone. They are always asking you which people are you always with 24/7. Oh, they always put people to track your movements, to identify people whom you are always speaking to. That one is also a sign of a toxic relationship. Then the second one is violent partners, someone who hits you or someone who destroys things, furniture, beds, televisions. Love bombing. In this, I mean, he will be sweet in 1 week or 2, and then the other weeks or days, he tends to be very cold and cruel. Too much disrespect that is intolerable. Then the other one is they always apologize, but they do not change. And they always tend to threaten you that they will hurt you, they will hurt themselves if you try to leave. That is all I had for you. Remember to like the video and subscribe.
Always pay attention to your man in an argument. That's when the real him comes out. That's when the mask drops. Listen to his words. Watch his tone. See how he treats you when things get heated. Because in that moment, he's showing you his true thoughts about you. Not the version he shows when everything's good. The version he can't hide when he's mad. Don't just hear the words. Catch the meaning behind them. Ask yourself, what is he really telling me right now? How does he really feel about me? Because anger has a way of bringing the truth to the surface. And sometimes that truth is the answer you've been looking for.
Have you ever wondered if the relationship you are in is toxic? As a relationship therapist, I've worked with a lot of toxic people and a lot of victims of toxic relationships. So I know exactly what goes down and what to look for. Here are 5 signs that you are actually the victim of a toxic relationship. 1, they criticize you for the absolute smallest things in the world. It could literally be not putting a dish away correctly. It could be not reacting big enough to a gift they bought you. You're walking on eggshells because you never know what they're going to criticize about you next. Have you ever gone out for a night with friends without them and looked down at your phone and seen frantic messages from them checking in on you? Maybe they even pretend they're sick or start a fight and it literally ends up ruining your night. They are so insecure that the mere thought of you being independent from them actually makes them feel so afraid. When you are with them, you honestly feel like a bad person. It's like their whole schema of you is that you're bad. You're lazy, you're selfish, you're stupid, the list goes on. Have they ever accused you of cheating and you're like, in what world would I cheat? People who cheat and lie will often project this trait onto you, making you feel guilty for no reason. Finally, guys, your friends and family absolutely hate them. They have a bird's eye view and can see the situation a lot more clearly than if they were in the middle of the situation themselves. If you've had a family member or friend reach out and be deeply concerned, this is a giant red flag that your relationship is toxic.
So how do you know when you're in an abusive relationship? How can you tell? Like, is it toxic? Is it abusive? Is he the problem? Are you the problem? Now I'm going to give you some specific ways, and I'm also going to talk about some key feelings. if you feel anxious, if you feel constantly nervous, if you just kind of overall feel confused, if you feel powerless, if you feel trapped, if you're constantly feeling shame, if you're constantly blaming yourself, if you feel unseen, unheard, unloved, and just basic overall dread or even fear about the future, fear of the unknown, if you feel fear of any kind, these are red flags. Now let's get a little bit more specific, okay? Let's dig in a little bit with this sort of anxious, nervous feeling. That's walking on eggshells. So how you might see this showing up in yourself is that you're constantly sort of having to change your tone, change your words, make sure that they're in a good mood. Another one is extreme mood swings from your partner. Now, the thing about an abusive relationship is that it's always got good times, right? They're oscillating between abusiveness and kindness, positive reinforcement and devaluation. So here's an example. You have some explosive fight and then 2 seconds later, everything's fine. Maybe they just act like nothing happened, or they shower you with love. That's going to leave you confused, and that makes sense because it's confusing. They might try to isolate you. That's another one, right? They're trying to sabotage your relationships with your friends and family. They don't let you go anywhere, or they let you go somewhere, but there's always a negative consequence. They might even say things like, your friend so-and-so is not even good enough for you. Or something like, oh, why do you never prioritize me the one time you want to go out with your friends? You'll also notice a pattern of them just minimizing or just completely dismissing your feelings. They'll say things like, oh, you're so dramatic, or you're always going on about this. Now, of course, they're going to gaslight you, right? They want to twist reality and distort your perceptions to make you question yourself. They'll tell you, I never said that. You're overreacting. God, you're so crazy. You'll feel drained. You'll feel exhausted. And I'm talking like emotionally, mentally, physically. You literally just feel depleted, constantly trying to manage their moods and keep them happy. Now, this can even show up in that you don't sleep very well. You're constantly on edge. Another one is that they're going to control your decisions. They might be overt, like controlling what you wear, who you see, who you talk to. Maybe they'll demand access to your phone, or they'll constantly criticize your decisions. But it could also be a lot more covert, where again, they're making you feel guilty for spending time with friends. Or, and this one will show up a lot more covertly, and I experienced this, where the coercive control was always praise. You're so good. I'm so glad that you're not out gallivanting around like those HOESs. A lot of people don't actually recognize that as control, but it is. Another one in an abusive relationship is blame shifting, right? You made me do this. You made me cheat on you. You make me yell at you. If you weren't so difficult, I wouldn't have to yell at you. And in this relationship, you feel like you have lost yourself. Maybe you even stop pursuing your hobbies. You stop the job you love. You stop seeing your friends. You just don't feel confident in who you are. Another one is that you fear their reactions. You're literally afraid to bring up issues, to talk about your feelings, to ask for your needs to be met. And why? Why are you so afraid, right? Because you're afraid to be punished. You're afraid of the negative consequences. Another one is physical, verbal, or sexual coercion. Some of this can be obvious, but it's not always that obvious. Name calling, degrading comments, pressuring you to do things in the bedroom that you don't want to do. And they might even say things like, if you loved me, you would do this, or this is your wifely duty. Physical abuse also includes things like pinching, slapping, pushing, snatching things out of your hand, using their body to intimidate you. And actually, sleep deprivation is also physical abuse. You know, when they try to keep you up all night fighting? If you constantly feel guilty or you doubt yourself, this is another sign of abuse. You feel responsible for their bad moods. You feel responsible for their behaviors. You feel responsible to get them to their appointments. It's crazy how they can guilt you. And the last one that I want to address is kind of a key one. It's when your intuition just feels off, like you don't trust yourself. You know something's not right, right? I know you know that. Maybe you're even justifying their behavior to other people and you're kind of wondering, like, is this normal? Don't all couples fight? Isn't marriage hard? Now, I always feel like when I post lists like this, people are like, how many of these do I need to check mark for this to be abusive? And the answer, it's one. The truth is, if any of these things are happening in a pattern, you're in an abusive relationship. Now, I just gave you 13 things. How many apply to you? Now, if you're just figuring all of this out and you need support, I want to invite you to join me in the Toxic Free Relationship Club. This